So are you financially independent? You are currently the CEO of INDmoney, a company which is valued at 5,000 crores. How does the founder of a startup actually make money?
I don't think, salary makes you feel rich. But on the other hand, the real value can only be created through equity and ESOPs.
So if I had accumulated ESOPs of 10 lakhs, that would be worth 20 crores.
Correct.
And there are examples like this.
Lots.
You were to start your own career right now as a 25-year-old guy. Which industry or which companies would you like to join so that you can derive value out of their ESOPs?
I don't think that if somebody with 20 years of experience is better than someone with 5 years of experience.
You're saying only with the cash salary, it is very difficult for somebody to achieve financial independence.
And which is why
Mr. Ashish Kashyap, you are currently the CEO of INDmoney, a company which is valued at 5,000 crores. You've been working in almost 4 or 5 companies in your entire life so far. So are you financially independent?
yes, I'm financially independent.
So how do you define financial independence?
If me and my family does not need to rely on a monthly cash flow to meet the ends meet, one, that's financially independent. And I can also extend, and then what is wealth? Can that wealth be passed on to certain generations?
Yeah.
So that, they are able to perhaps use it for, doing something better for the mankind in this world.
What I'm curious to know is, how does the founder of a startup actually make money, right? How does that entire process work? Because from the outside, when we evaluate startups, we look at, okay, they're not making profits. What is the point? And that's how a common man might look at it. So can you educate us as to how a founder makes money?
Yeah, no, great. So firstly, the founder cannot make money through salary.
Okay.
The second thing is that typically think of a company like a pizza, right? Where a founder who is building the company with his own money and does not have any investors, then the whole pizza belongs to him. Now, when the founder wants to scale and when he wants to build out a company and create a large impact, he or she wants to raise capital. But there are institutions in this country, venture capitalists of various stages and private equity, which invest in companies.
Where are they getting the money from?
They get their monies from investors, HNI investors, university endowments, and so on and so forth. So the minute a founder wants to raise capital to scale his or her company, that founder would take money from the company and in exchange give few pieces of pizza to those investors. So now let's assume that there are, 4 pieces of pizza for simplicity. So I would keep 2 pieces of pizza and I would give 2 pieces of pizza to these investors. Right? So that's how it happens. So now the investors own 50% of the pizza. I own 50% of the pizza. Now, as my company grows further, my pizza becomes bigger. And I put more cheese on it. And what happens is that I need to give more pieces of pizza to more investors because I want to scale even more. Or 2 pieces, or I have, let's say, 25% of the pizza. And 75% of the pizza belongs to these investors. Now the founder can monetize, and he and she has to monetize along with all of these investors through following ways. Number one way is that he or she can do a sale of the asset, which means do a merger and acquisition. So
meaning sell the company.
Sell the company. As an example, Myntra selling to Flipkart. So that's one way to do it. The second way to do it is you say, I want to list my asset on the Bombay Stock Exchange or National Stock Exchange, right? I want to list it.
So IPO.
And I want to invite normal people, retail people, to be able to invest in my company. So that's the second way.
That is what Zomato did.
That is what Zomato did. Or that is what, Paytm also did recently. Or that is what Policy Bazaar has done. That is what Nykaa has done. And so
at that point of time, the founder gets to sell his stock.
There are some lock-ins, etc., etc. But that now now that makes the founder's part of his pizza liquid, right? He can go and sell
In the open market.
nibbles of that in the open market.
Yeah. So what is the success rate for a founder? Like you mentioned, a founder can't make money through salary because
Yes.
they're taking a nominal salary. So out of 100 startups which are made coming in India, how many startups can actually have an event of an IPO or getting acquired by another company where the founder actually makes some wealth?
So I would say 2.
2%.
Company which is getting started, obviously the failure rates are higher because they may even fail even before being able to raise capital.
So how does the employees make money? Now I understood about the founder, but a lot of people watching over here, are really hesitant of joining a startup because they're like you mentioned, only 2 out of 100 startups might actually become successful. So as a person who is starting out my career, how can I make it worth my while? So how can I become a part of that wealth creation journey along with that founder?
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think just like the way today's date an investor chooses a company that he or she wants to invest in, same way they need to be able to have the sense of how to choose companies.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Second is that I think the magic of employee stock options, and it's kind of got proven with so many liquidity events that has happened, is just unbelievable. It creates think of a person who's 25 years old, especially if that person joins the right company and actually negotiates more ESOPs versus salary. For a growth stage company in 4 to 5 years time, that person will create so much of wealth that she will be ready to do a startup of his own or her own. For salaried people, if assuming they don't participate in creating a company or they don't have ESOPs, assuming pure play salary, I think it's just, I've seen it very seldom for people to get financially independent.
You're saying only with the cash salary.
Correct.
It is very difficult for somebody to achieve financial independence.
And which is why, something which I also didn't do when I was a kid, but save and put their money in SIPs every month. That compounding is very powerful, and that can, make you somewhat financially independent.
So Ashish, after what salary did you start feeling rich?
So I don't think, salary makes you feel rich.
Okay.
Whether you are earning 10,000 rupees a month or you're earning 1 lakh or 10 lakh, the concept of salary, right? Firstly, it doesn't come in 1 month. A salary, when we say, is divided by 12 months. And second is that salary comes to you after tax, and tax is deducted fully. So I don't think one can create wealth with just salary. But on the other hand, the real value can only be created through equity and ESOPs.
Can you give an example? What is the ESOPs that they took? And what was the value of that ESOP when they finally got the exit?
Got it. No, that's a good point. So let's say a person who joined me in the beginning, if he had 100 rupees of ESOPs, that 100 rupees of ESOPs, gave him a value of about 2 lakh rupees. So 100 and 2 lakh, you can do the maths.
So if I had accumulated ESOPs of 10 lakhs, that would be worth 20 crores.
Correct.
And there are examples like this.
Lots.
Okay. Enough to start their own company.
Enough to start.
Got it. So if you were to sort of, let's say, start your own career right now as a 25-year-old guy, which industry or which companies would you like to join so that you can derive value out of their ESOPs?
Yeah, so I think I would definitely be very bullish on fintech, financial services.
So your company.
My company, yes, I'm very bullish, right? And it's also at the right stage, for sure. I'm also very bullish about health tech. Health tech, converged with AI is going to be very powerful. I'm also pretty bullish about a lot of enterprise or SaaS tech.
Can you tell me a little bit about how your journey began? Like, what was your first salary?
I started working right after graduation. This is before my postgrad. And my first job was with this radio business of Times Group. I think my salary was like 10,000 rupees or something like that.
Which year was this?
This was 1998. This was many years ago. I was 22.
You're making 10,000 a month.
Yes.
How much would that value be today? 10,000 a month?
Maybe 60,000 rupees.
That's actually a pretty good starting salary.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So what did you study?
I did economics honors first, and then I did my post-graduation from McGill.
That's in Canada.
Correct.
So in early on when you began your career, what were you optimizing for? Like, did you think that, okay, I need to make a lot of money and be rich and then retire? Or was it something else that you were thinking about in your 20s or maybe your early 30s?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I think I had this huge fortune to join Google, which was again very transformational, and join them as their first country head.
But this would have been a little bit later in your career, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was actually not that late in the career.
How old were you when you became country
I was,
head?
I think, about 32 years old.
Like, how do you think you became a country head of Google so fast?
Because I worked for, I built the internet businesses for Times before that.
Okay.
And the internet was just happening, right? I also just want to say that, the world has started changing, and it's changed now, right? Like, I have seen that the concept of age and the concept of experience is getting out of the picture completely. I have met a lot of people with amazing experience on paper, but when I actually get down to talking to them, they have been in existence.
What does that mean?
Which means that they haven't learned anything. Even at INDmoney, there are people who work with me. There could be a 28, 29-year-old who would be 10x to someone who's worked 20 years.
Okay.
So I think the concept of age, that can a 29-year-old really scale and do things and, build stuff, I think that is something which has completely changed. So I don't think that if somebody with 20 years of experience is better than someone with 5 years of experience.
So what is that numerical figure after which I can quit my job and think of being a startup founder?
Yeah. So I think that person, if that person can have this 4 to 5 CR of corpus, then that person also has a cushion and can also think of doing a startup, think of failing many times and finally succeeding.
So your advice is that if somebody wants to start their own company, have at least like 4 to 5 crores in savings.
Yeah, my suggestion is that many times a lot of people jump into starting up. Chances of failure are very hard, and then you want to come back to employment and swap back to starting up. Rather than that, learn, work in a startup, spend some time, create some corpus, and then jump into doing a startup.
So Ashish, can you talk about your own investment strategy? How do you manage your own money?
So I, love the concept of allocation.
Okay.
Yeah. So broadly, my allocation is across Indian equities, global equities.
Can you tell me the percentages?
Yeah. So largely, let's say, firstly, let's talk about equity and non-equity. Equity for me is 70%. Non-equity is 30%. When I say non-equity, it means debt, mutual funds, hybrid, and so on and so forth, and bonds.
Yeah.
And within equity, there is domestic and global equities. I like diversifying between both. So that's how it is done. In non-equities, things like angel investing and real estate is less than 3%.
But when you mean real estate 3%, like what is real estate in this?
Real estate doesn't include the house that you stay in. Let's leave that out. But real estate as an investment.
Okay, you're not even including your house here.
Yeah, I'm not including the house.
So apart from your house, you have real estate investments in which is 3% of your portfolio.
Less than 3%.
And what is this? Like some commercial building? Like
it could be like a plot. It could be like an apartment. It could be like a commercial.
Like why did you buy it? Because you don't like it.
Over the period of time, I would have bought it. But I'm saying that what I learned over the last 15 years, it's an inefficient asset class, basically.
Okay. Anything else apart from these investment products like bonds, FDs, debt funds, domestic equity, US equity, anything else apart from this?
Apart from this is my equity in the company that I work in.
Okay. The INDmoney.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm assuming that is the biggest part of your wealth.
Yes, perhaps.
when we go IPO.
Perhaps,
Yeah.
yes.
But do you think you will one day go IPO?
I mean, I think this time we don't want to definitely sell the asset. We would love to enable a lot of retail people to also create value from us.
So Ashish, what is the biggest risk you have taken in your life which has helped you become successful?
So when I was the country head of Google, that was amazing opportunity, a highly remunerative opportunity. And for me, the biggest risk was to just leave everything, leave that, and plunge into starting up. I think that was perhaps the biggest
risk.
one, right? I think you just basically say, listen, I want to basically build my own startup.
And that has been worth it, obviously.
I hope so.
Cool, Ashish. I think I've asked all the questions that I could possibly think out of you.
Thank you, and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys. And I'll see you in the next one.